Okay. Actually,
So I don't know if you remember RChain status.
I do remember it. Yes. In fact, I
Uh,
was looking. I was considering bringing it up to date a while ago.
yeah, so for some reason I was interested to bring this up to date. Um, and I wish we had made a screenshot there anyway, or I had while it was running last night, because it's all over the floor right now, of course. Anyway, so if one looks at this contract, first of all, we had all this kind of public key cryptography stuff, which I don't think we need anymore because we have deployer ID. But here's the status insecure version of it. And I start looking at this thing and I'm thinking, hey, this looks a lot like Inbox, right?
Right.
So I'm like, I don't want to update this code. I just want to switch over to Inbox. So I'll use this user interface. Um, and I figured out how to get VS Code to work on 3 projects at once. Let's cut these workspaces thing. You just go File, Add Folder to Workspace.
You're not sharing your screen.
Ah! Um, where's the widget? RChain status, blah, 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 blah. I was looking at this status contract and thinking, gee, that looks a lot like Inbox. So I don't want to update this stuff. I want to go grab Liquid Democracy. And by the way, I learned how to convince VS Code to do multiple projects in one workspace. You just go add folder to workspace. It's really easy. I had never seen how to make a workspace, but you don't. You just open up one project and then say add another project. Anyway.
Yeah, I screwed up when I opened another file or another directory.
Yeah, and I guess I could make a name for the workspace. Anyway, so Liquid Democracy, and here's Inbox. And then I had this horrible make file for deploying things, right? And so when we left our hero, you were familiar with this issue. We were talking about local validator dev tools, you know, and dealing with dollar directory and the registry and all that kind of stuff. So I made some progress. This is my draft pull request. And by demand, the first thing I did was commit the horrible make file so that you now have it, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm not going to answer questions about how it works. You claim to be able to read make files. I don't want anybody to use it. So then I took one of the makefile stanzas and converted to, there's a thing called a Jake file. And so I did 2 things. One is instead of using a Debian package to run my R node, this Docker Compose stuff has got a bunch of niceties that are relevant here. And so this is how you can, then you say, what is it? npx jake shard. Is it start shard? Is everything npx? Sorry. And it's already running, so. So I changed it from shard to start shard a little bit. And so there's Jake. I add that to the dependencies. And I just did a horrible symlink right now. This should be a Git submodule or something, blah, blah, blah. And then I was trying to make a rule to go from .row to something to show that the thing had been deployed like I had in my make file. I never quite got that working. So I just did an explicit iteration over each one of the sources and made a rule for it. Because you can write for loops really easy in JavaScript and not so easily in a make file. And then I started using ES6 modules for the code that I wrote. There's this thing called ESM that makes that straightforward. And then what did I do here? I implemented, a lot of the code that we've got uses the browser fetch API. And so I took the Node.js HTTP API and made a fetch implementation out of it. And then I reconstructed the stuff that does RNode signing. Some of this stuff should live in different packages or something, but I just wanted to get it working for now. And then as we talked about, I got things to TS check. You know, here's some configuration stuff that I got from the Agoric folks. Oh, this is kind of cool. It actually deploys contracts at this point. And then I updated the package.json thing. It was called RChain community. Oh, I guess that was before we moved the repository, renamed the repository. And then lock working packages. Oh, right. And then there's another API that I kind of put stuff together for. It was kind of cool. Okay, now I'm starting to try to get the return data back from the deploys, you know, the registry URIs back so that we can actually do something with them, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Right. And then I cherry picked some changes we made to the community contracts because they had syntax errors, and so I would get syntax errors when I would try to deploy them. But now it goes deploy. Here's the deploy ID. Standing by for return from community.row. And here I'm stuck because my shard doesn't have anything that does propose. So that's my next step, is to put some propose calls in. But it does things concurrently and everything. It's pretty cool.
Sweet. So,
so if we have people for the hackathon, we could. My hope is that we'll have a nice little command line tool where we say, okay, make a Jake file, list your sources here, and say go, and those contracts will be on chain, right?
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So the propose script should be pretty simple, right?
Yeah. In fact, the proposed port is not blocked, so I can just do the propose from the JavaScript as well.
Right, and then when in production, you won't do it.
Right.
So,
so I can just have a little thing that's running concurrently with these things that's going propose.
Right. Or maybe have it in test mode. Have it do a deploy every time you wait for a response. You're waiting for a response.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. So I'm in a mode where it's fun.
Awesome, man. I was I was figuring that none of this was going to happen. I mean, you're just amazing. You're just phenomenal. I mean, it's like you recognize that this is something we need, and boom, you do it. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure hoping we grow more people that get this business of how you can use object capabilities to build social systems.
Yeah. I mean, I think, um, you know, getting the liquid democracy out there is going to give a model for all kinds of, that can be used for all kinds of applications.
Right.
And,
Where did? Oh, you turned your camera off. Okay.
oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I try to leave it on when I'm talking, but sometimes when you're sharing the screen,
Yeah.
it puts the video over the page.
Okay, I'm trying to turn my camera off, but it's on, but it says host has stopped it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean you can't start it?
Right.
Ah, weird. How do you like that?
Should I leave and come back or something?
No, I have to. If I make you a co-host,
Well, no, just click on my camera in the participants list and get rid of the red line through it.
oh, ask to start video. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't figured out where in the recording it puts these images, but your image was blocking part of the presentation screen when you were showing the presentation.
Right.
So I turned you off. I don't know if it was blocking the same place in the recording as it was in my screen or what.
I don't think so. I think that's a little window you could have dragged somewhere and reduced the size of it. And anyway.
Yeah, no, I did move it to the other. I moved it to the other screen actually.
Okay.
But my understanding is the recording puts it where it wants it.
Oh, okay.
In other words,
Do we have your list of how to make groups smart somewhere?
how to make groups smart.
You know what I'm talking about?
The best practices, right?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a couple of different places. I guess the presentation is probably the most reasonable place to get that, which is this guy. I don't know where I should put it. So,
Education? That's the one.
and I think I added a page to that. Oh, yeah, the 10 patterns are. And I put in the value of networks line.
So I'm.
Should I share my screen?
I just want to make sure that this is in the Liquid Democracy README or something. Link, Markdown. Too many tabs. There we go. Shall I commit this directly to the master?
Sure.
There's not much in the README there yet, so we're not, okay.
So I'm gonna share anyway. We're gonna block you, but these are the two slides I have. Value of networks, proportional, and networks exponential. Actually,
Huh. Oh, you got to cite something on that slide.
yeah, I know. Where did I capture that from? Actually, Patrick Himstead, he gave them that slide.
Cite your source. But I mean, can somebody go and read the research paper that shows this?
And I have the same problem with this one. I have to give the reference. You know, I have the video where I got this is about the only place.
Well, at least that one, it says the hum at the, you know.
Right.
Bottom. I mean, if you just, whatever that name is, if you just remembered, if you want to put that at the bottom, that's a start.
Patrick McGuire.
Yeah. Oh, is that where you got it?
But the question is, where did he, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he was the one, he's not the researcher or anything. Yeah, we ought to be able to Google this up straightforwardly, huh?
Yeah, well, we could do value of network.
Well, that's Metcalfe's law. That's, everybody knows that. But this hierarchy thing.
Okay, so wait, so this is Metcalfe's law.
The second one, yeah.
Value of networks are exponential.
If you just add Metcalfe, you'll win. Yeah, that'll work. Well, it's usually quoted as the square, so I don't know if the word exponential is going to be used very often.
Right.
Okay, it is. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So
that one you don't need to cite a source for. Everybody knows that.
yeah, well, I forgot it.
Okay. You could just grab it right there. Grab that link to Metcalfe's, or actually that's a Google link and they've screwed it up.
Yeah. Well, Reed's law. So is this Reed's law we're talking about?
I don't know. I was thinking that you knew. Okay. Oh, scale exponentially. All right, maybe that's more directly related.
And let me just stick it here for now.
Capital asset pricing model.
Okay, so we probably should add some text on here. Huh? Okay, let's see, we're still recording.
Well, okay, so Jim, here's the one that, here's an article that makes that contrast in the education thing. So that, you could cite that. I don't know who wrote this. November 2019, Dan Robles. Talking about hierarchy versus network. That looks like a reasonable thing to cite. It's not the research paper, but anyway. What is this?
Yeah. You know, and I mean, this is, I mean, you could, I guess,
Oh, I guess at this point it's a conjecture, huh? The value of a construct is in terms of,
well, clearly in practice, networks aren't producing exponential value, but they have the capability of producing exponential value. I mean, you know, it's sort of like different, you know, I would use this diagram to show how implementing implementing tuple space in hardware would basically do everything at once. You would have no delay, but virtually no delay in running your ROLAC program. Whereas in the hierarchical model, you're going to be forcing things to be sequential, more sequential.
I don't have any reason to believe that, I mean, there's this stuff called physics. We live in a three-dimensional world. But everybody has the experience that if all your friends on some social network, then it sucks to be on a different one. Yeah, I mean, you have to lay out the wires somehow if you're going to do it in hardware, right?
I guess there's another picture I should put in here. Okay, this is the main presentation here.
Share or Hermione neural or something?
So I think this has most of the other ones in here also. But I guess I'll stick it in there. What I and there it is.
And if you can find a particularly good bit of technical info about Rolang on hardware, oh, let's see.
So you see this picture here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, picture a hierarchy and then all these cross connections. The cross connection is what it gets the whole system to act with a collective intelligence. Okay, which in a network you don't have because you don't have these cross connections.
But every place that those wires cross, if that were hardware, that would be broken, right? Within the circle, the signals are supposed to go between the red dots, right?
No, well, okay, this picture, these are different people communicating. Okay, so we can consider these as being different names or whatever.
Socially, I totally buy the argument. It's just when you try to stretch it into hardware, I'm like, what?
Well, let's see. What I'm saying is that, you know, Rolang, everything's in parallel. So you're sending all the messages at the same time. Okay, and if you have a gatekeeper that's routing these from one place to another, right? They're not going to. I don't know. I guess we don't have that, huh?
Well, I mean, doing everything at the same time is great as long as there's no data dependencies. So,
But that's why you were building the row calculus logic into the memory.
there's nothing about Rolang that gets rid of data dependencies. Right? I mean, the for construct, you know, sequentializes things, right? If you want to add one and then add one again, you can't do those in parallel. So, yeah, you can eliminate unnecessary sequentialism, but you can't get rid of everything.
I guess what I'm saying is, you could only do if you have 32 cores, you can only do 32 things at the same time. Whereas if your logic is built into memory, you can expand that to be thousands or millions. And
that remains to be seen.
We would need like a content addressable memory that's about I think 4 megabytes. Tomislav was saying, which would essentially be the cache of the tuple space.
You know where he said that?
I don't know if we were recording or not.
Okay.
It was one of these discussions of hardware for RChain, which actually is just a few weeks ago people were interested in talking about it anyway.
Well, there was some that were either in the Friday, whatever the heck it is, or the Casper stand-up where that was going on. I don't know. Anyway, if anybody's got a really good one. This organization is so horrible about organizational memory.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't resolve much, but we were just, talking about how much of this memory with logic built into it we would need in order to speed up RChain. And
right.
And he was basing it on the caching that's done with LMDB or whatever.
Well, I just got a private chat from Daryl saying that the time stamping in YouTube was kind of a new technique to him, so he'll be doing that on the weekly things from now on. It's like, oh my gosh, if we had timestamps on all the weeklies going back in a in a nice index of them. In a way, we do, because for when I joined, I did it retrospectively for all the.
Oh, you did it? I know.
And we paid people out of the
right.
money.
Do it, right.
That was anyway. That's the gold mine. Yeah. Anytime Greg complains that he said it before, I'm like, if you can't find it with Google, dude, you might as well not have said it.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I think I'm going to take a lunch break, and then I might have some energy to do some coding, but probably not in front of the camera.
I'm going to I guess, get out on my bike
Oh, cool.
and get some stuff done. I got a car now. I'm gonna stop.